This right here is your starter gear cover. We've got they call it a gear reduction system. We've got our starter coming in from behind, and then we've got several sets of gears here that'll, kind of an idler gear situation to get it over to turn that motor over. So I'll pull that so you can see what it looks like behind there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start moving these. Real quick while I'm taking these apart here, this right here for the 4-wheel drive models, this case has got a groove running through it. Same exact kind of setup. Actually used all the same bottom end parts, except for this cover is different. And this has got a groove run all the way through it for your drive shaft to run out there and run to your front differential. So your transfer gear here, your output gear set will be slightly different. On the 4-wheel drive model. Ridiculous that it's taken this long. All right, got all this off here. I'm going to take, there is your, we had one washer fall out, and then just what that happens there is it just sticks to this cover when you're pulling it out. So there's your gear reduction system. So we've got your starter drive here, we've got your idler gear here, so there's a gear on the back side of this that's all one piece. And then this is called your gear reduction. It goes back to the flywheel there, or behind the flywheel. So that's what that cover looks like. This washer goes there. So now we're able to yeah, this gear doesn't come out until you pull this cover. The top of this gear does. Set that down in there so we don't forget where it came from there. Double check to make sure I don't have any more bolts holding this on here. And this cover is ready to come off. And grab the plastic hammer again. Be careful where you tap on this one at so you don't break any wires. The other thing I do is I'll grab a metal hammer and just slightly tap on. A lot of times once that seal is broken, that gasket seal, then you can get it off there fairly easily. You hear the change there and sound, and that's that gasket breaking or letting go. I'm going to set this motor down here so we can get a better angle at it. I'm also going to pull this starter off here. That's not going to make any difference. But I just don't want to damage. Well, let's see. Sure it's holding on. Just doesn't give you a lot of good space to hit with a plastic hammer. Go ahead and remove this starter. Just two 8mm in the back here. This has got the starter has O-rings right here that are sealing up really well. Sometimes that can hold us on. And then also this stator is with the flywheel is magnetic, so sometimes that can give you fits as well. These starters are extremely difficult. They don't give you a whole lot of space at all to get these out. So you kind of got to lift up slightly and wiggle it out at the same time. And with this cover off, that's going to give us a little more room, or cover loosened up. I do feel like those O-rings are holding us on there. Those O-rings get hot and dried up, kind of creates a little bit of a weld. That's what's going on here. So I've got, I like to spray something down there, but as good as that's sealed up, I'm not totally sure it would do any good. Got quite a bit of movement out of it there. You can see right on that starter where it's sealed up really good. There we go. All right, that seal is what was holding us up there on that starter. So got that off now. I think this cover is going to come off a whole lot easier now. Move some of that dirt out of the way so we don't drop that in there. That gear shifter now, that seal is holding us up. There we go. Got past that. Now we're able just to pull this off of here. So there is your stator there. There's your pulsar here. And we've got your flywheel behind here. Kind of let that drip there. Got your shifter shaft coming out here, and I'll tip this up so you can maybe see a little bit better. All right, we got your flywheel there. 17mm, pull this bolt off. There we go. Now, to pull your flywheel, you gotta have a special tool. And I do have them for sale. If you guys are needing one, contact me. But it's a special bolt that you run through there, and it's a metric thread, 20 by 1.5. So what you do is take and screw that in there. And you want to make sure it's stronger than a bolt. You just don't want to use a bolt because the bolt doesn't have any stronger threads than what this flywheel does. And you'll just strip out the threads of the bolt and damage the threads of the flywheel. So you want to make sure you use the tool required here. Take that, run it in there. Different size sockets will Mine here is a 7/8 socket. You just run this in, and that just pulls it out just like that. So that is removing the flywheel on this Fourtrax. And you just take this gear on, or this bearing on the back here is a one-way gear, and that starts your motor. So it'll just spin one way. Got a bearing on there that generally stays on that shaft. So then we're done with that flywheel. To put this flywheel back on, you don't need this any special tool there. So we've got your gear here, what I talked about earlier.